Most of the episodes on this channel focus on how to build a stronger VA claim. Today, we're going to look at why knowing the VA rules can help you with that. The VA claims process isn't supposed to be based on opinions or guesswork. It's governed by federal law, specifically the 38 CFR. We're going to look at 3 regulations that every veteran should know. We'll do it through the example of 3 veterans, John, Sarah, and Robert, to see how these rules protect you when a claim becomes difficult. John is claiming a back condition. His private physician writes a strong medical opinion connecting his disability to service. The VA examiner reaches the opposite conclusion. Now John thinks, it's my doctor's word against theirs. I've already lost. Not necessarily. This is where 38 CFR 3.102, commonly called the benefit of the doubt rule, comes into play. The regulation says that when the evidence supporting a claim and the evidence against the claim are approximately equal, the VA must resolve that reasonable doubt in favor of the veteran. John doesn't have to prove the VA examiner is wrong. He needs to present evidence that is just as competent and just as persuasive. When a medical opinion says a condition is at least as likely as not, that's the standard that this regulation is built around. If the evidence is essentially balanced, the law requires the VA to give the benefit of the doubt to the veteran. Sarah receives a denial for her anxiety claim. The letter simply says the claim is denied, but doesn't clearly explain why the evidence wasn't sufficient or why certain records were discounted. This is where 38 CFR 3.103 becomes important. This regulation establishes many of a veteran's procedural rights during the claims process, including the right to receive a decision that explains the reason for the outcome. A denial should not simply say no. It should explain what evidence was considered, how the VA evaluated that evidence, and why the claim did not meet the legal requirements. If the explanation is incomplete or fails to address significant evidence, Sarah now knows exactly where to begin asking questions and preparing her next step. You have the right to understand the reasoning behind the decision, not just the results. Finally, let's talk about Robert. Robert filed a claim for a knee injury back in 2004. The VA denied the claim because it said there was no evidence showing the injury occurred during service. Years later, additional official service records were located that document the injury and should have been considered when the VA made its original decision. This is where 38 CFR 3.156C can become extremely important. Normally, when a previously denied claim is reopened with new evidence, benefits generally begin from the date the new claim is filed. But when relevant official service documents, records that existed at the time of the original decision, are later associated with the file, the VA may have to reconsider the original claim rather than simply reopen it. That distinction can make a tremendous difference because it may allow the veteran to receive an earlier effective date if the claim is ultimately granted, as well as retroactive pay to the new effective date. This regulation exists to prevent veterans from losing benefits simply because important service records weren't available when the VA made its first decision. These 3 regulations each protect veterans in a different way. 3.102 protects you when the evidence is evenly balanced. 3.103 protects your right to understand how the VA reached its decision. And 3.156C helps protect your effective date when relevant official service records are later added to your file. Understanding these regulations won't guarantee that every claim is granted, but they do help you recognize when the process is working correctly and when you may need to ask more questions. Take a look at your most recent VA decision letter. Can you identify where these regulations were applied? It may be the answer you're looking for. This is Specialist Joe with the Systematic Theory of VA Claims, and I appreciate you watching today. But for now, I'm signing off. Bye-bye.